Hi, this is Lucas, and today is going to be the first session, and this is going to be part of your homework and to make you get you going and make it easier for you. So today we're going to talk about HTML and CSS, and that will give you the opportunity to practice before the next session. Okay, so we start with creating HTML document. Okay, let's save it and give it the name of index HTML. Okay. First of all, let's make sure that we declare that we're going to be using HTML5 in this example. And let's start our document by starting with HTML tag. Okay, so everything we're going to put within those two tags. So first one is the head. As I mentioned during the class, the head will be loaded first. So anything we're going to put in the head is going to be loaded when the browser opens the website first before anything else, before any content. So if you put all CSS as the declarations in our head, that will be loaded before anything else. Also JavaScript, so you have to be careful because that can make the website very slow. So let's start with the title. Okay. And then we move on to the body. So everything will be within those two tags. All our content the user can see. Okay, so as we did during the class, most of the websites will have those three parts. So they will have a header, and they will also have a footer, and they'll probably have some sort of midsection. There will be a div for now. Okay, so we probably want to put some kind of menu inside of our header. So let's make a container that's gonna contain our menu. Okay. Something's wrong with this auto-completion. Okay. And the menu normally we would do as a list. So UL as unordered list. Let's close the tag. And the first list item would be, let's call it a home. So right now we're not making any links, it's just going to be text. And the other one will be contact. Okay, good. So at this moment, you can already see what our website looks like. So let's open it and see for ourselves. So let's go to the folder that we just created and open the file. Let's open it in the browser. There we go. Just make so it fits in the window. All right. So there's two things that you can already see. First one is the title of the website, that you can see our first website, and two links or two items in the menu. So just to show you how it looks, we can change the title to say first example. So you refresh that and you'll see that the title, oh sorry, I made a fits. Sorry, my dyslexia. Alright, so now you see, refresh the new title and two items in the menu below. Okay, so let's leave it for now as it is and proceed to work on our footer, because the footer will also have a menu, and for now we just double the functionality of the menu above. So for the sake of simplicity, we'll put it in a div just like before. Or perhaps we just copy it over. Like that. Okay. Put it like this. And just save. Let's see our page, refresh. Okay, now we have two sets of menus. Okay, go back. And our div in the middle, we want to put a very large hello world sign. So for this, we would use H1, as this stands for the heading of the highest level. So we have several headings. You can put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and they will get progressively smaller. And those are default settings of each browser. But if you want to have more control about how big the font is, we'll set it up in some future sessions. It's very easy, like super easy. Anyway, so let's put hello world here. Okay. I'm sorry. It's a free version, so don't panic. Okay, maybe I'll buy it at some point. Okay, hello world. This is our first website. Okay, so let's make it look a little bit nicer. Okay, so we probably, like, you've seen most of the menus. You probably see that they don't look like this. So let's make it display a little bit differently. Let's make it display horizontally. So, or let's start with getting rid of the bullets. Style and list style. None. Okay, and that should get rid of the bullets. So you see the first menu where we put the style doesn't have the bullets. The other one still has it because we didn't give it any new style. Okay, so we got rid of the bullets. So how about we put the home and contact side by side instead of putting them one under the other. Okay, so that's going to be pretty easy too. So just give it a style of display. And instead of displaying it as a list, we will display it as inline block. Okay, now if we check, then it didn't really change anything because the second contact doesn't have the same style. So just copy that over, like that. Okay, and Control Save and refresh. There we go. They're side by side right now. Okay, so if you want to have a look what the boundaries are of each button, we can probably add also some background color. So set it to blue. Okay. And the first one will have a blue color, but we want all of them to look the same, so we have to copy it over to a second content, so a second link. Okay, and now you can see both are blue. So you notice that it's gonna become really tedious to do it this way. So if you have 2 items, what if you have 20? You have to add the style over and over again like this. It's really, really tedious. So what people that came up with this language noticed is that you can probably extract all the styles to separate sheets. So what they did, they created something that we call CSS, Cascade Style Sheets. So let's create CSS file here and save it in the same folder as our index.html, and we call it style. Or styles, CSS. It doesn't really matter how you call it. You can call it Chewbacca has a nice breakfast, and it will work the same. But you have to make sure that when you add it to your HTML, because we need to call it now, so when the browser opens our HTML, it knows where to look for CSS. So we have this syntax. It helps me with the completion of the code. And we will say styles CSS. That's going to be our reference file. Now, if we save that, Then if you go to our browser, well, we refresh, but nothing changes. Of course, there is nothing in the styles. But let's make sure that we will take those styles that we put here and we extract them to the styles CSS. Okay, so let's first add the style for our unordered list. So go here, let's say UL, and open close curly braces, and we put our style. You can just simply copy it over, okay? Because it's, so you see it's all the same, like this. You see, remember about the semicolon at the end. Okay. Okay, and let's delete that. Save, and go to the browser and refresh. Now, you see the bullets are now here, just like before, but notice that the bullets also in the bottom menu disappeared. It's because when we go to styles, we give this style to every single unordered list on the page, every single one. We are not very specific, we just acting across the board. So we're gonna fix it in a couple seconds, but let's proceed and copy those LI styles as well. So go here and we will do exactly the same. So LI, open and close curly braces, and just copy over our code. Okay, so you see it's exactly the same code. And we just paste it here, and for sake of readability, we do it like this. Because CSS really ignores all the white space. So you can technically write all your CSS in a single line with no spaces, no new line breaks. It will still work. And actually there's many compilers, and we're going to use those in future exercises that cut out all the white space from the CSS, because it makes it much faster for the computer to read. This is better for humans, but the computers don't really care. They only care about the space. So let's go back and just Control save, make sure it works, refresh. Okay, so now you see the other menu change the color. Make sure we delete this from here and see if it's still the same. Okay, this. Okay, Control save and refresh. There we go. They're all the same. Now, we probably want to add some styles to the hello world. What we're going to do is we go first here and we'll go here. And what we want to do is set some default fonts for the whole website, some default styles for the font. So we will declare that every item in the body, okay, everything that's visible to the user, will have a font size of 16 pixels. What that do is it makes sure that it doesn't matter what your browser is, whether you're on a phone or on a big computer or different browsers, the standard font is always 16. Why this matters is sometimes those default fonts are not the same. So for example, iPhone wouldn't use the same font size, would use slightly smaller font size. So right now we're going to declare that this is our base font. And when we declare that, we can actually relate to that size in the future. So when we say, okay, and let's do it here, when we say that H1 tags across the whole page, we want them to be 3 times as big, or maybe 4 times as big, or maybe 5 times as big as the standard font size. So we will say font size, and we say 5em. Okay, and what that does is takes the standard font size, okay, and multiplies it by 5. Okay. We can declare anything, any size in EMs, or most sizes in EMs. Therefore, when we want to make the website look a little bit bigger and bolder, we only change it here. Okay? Everything else will be relative. So everything else would scale and get bigger. So, okay, so let's say H5 and see how does that affect our website. Wow. Okay, make it really, really big. Okay, so let's go back and see how we can also change our website and maybe make it nicer. So first of all, those two menus, they probably shouldn't be the same. That's not what you see on a normal website. So how about we make a menu that goes across the whole page here and has a little different color. Okay, so first of all, we say it's going to be header, so we're going to give some styles to our header. Okay, so let's go here. Header, and our header will have background color. We give it gray, okay, light gray. So there we go. So the thing that we see here is that it doesn't really go all the way to the edge of the page, and that's caused by the spacing that's left on the body tag. It's kind of default behavior, so we can get rid of it. And I always forget whether that's padding and we set it to 0, or that's margin and we set it to 0. So I think it's margin. There we go. So as Albert Einstein said, never try to memorize things that you can look up in books. So kind of play around with this. But we have this thing here that we don't really want. Is probably because our UL also has a margin on the top. So I'll probably get rid of that margin too. And those are standard default things. Margin top, and we set 0. Okay, now refresh. There we go. That was it. Okay, so this is pretty thin, so we probably want to make the header a bit taller. So just give it some style. So and put it 80 pixels. But as I said, we don't need to really do the pixels, so we can say 4 EM or 5 EM maybe. You can really calculate it. So your browser will accept value like this easily, and it will use it as a calculation. It just takes 16 pixels and multiply it by 5 point whatever. So okay, there we go. Looks much nicer now, doesn't it? Okay, so the other thing I want to do is to give it a little bit more space around letters. Okay, here in the home and contact links. So I'll go to my LI, because that's the LI that I have for my contact and for my top menu, and I'll give it a padding. Okay, what padding does is it gives it a little margin around the content inside. So if our LI item is a box, imagine that we decide that whatever we put in a box, it has to have 5 centimeters of air around it. Okay, so that's pretty much how it works. So give it maybe 0.5 EM. And I noticed that I omit 0, I just put the dot, it also works. There we go, now big fat buttons, okay? What I wanted to do also is to push them a little down. And because I have no other content, I want to just push them a little bit down, maybe by 0, maybe 1 EM. So I can give them, maybe I can give our list, or maybe padding top of 1 EM. Save that, refresh, there we go. They're a bit, maybe just a little bit more, maybe 3, like this. Yeah, that kind of looks in the middle. Okay, and also we'd like to put them to the right hand side of the page rather than keep them in the middle. So what I would do is to say that, well, what I would do is actually go back to our HTML and see how it looks. Okay, so HTML looks like this. And you see I put it in a div here, so we're gonna give this div some styles. But this time, I don't want to change both menus. I only want to change this menu here. So I'll give this div a style or I'd rather give it something else. I'll give it an ID, okay? And ID, I'll give it menu. Okay, I'll call it menu. I can give it any name I want, but that's pretty much what it is. So the thing to remember about ID is that you can only have one ID on the page. So if I have ID menu here, I cannot use menu ID on this page anymore. I can use other IDs. I can give ID of dog, or I can give ID of footer, screen, pop-up, but menu is already used, okay? So it causes a conflict if I use it again. And I go to my styles, and I'll declare this ID. I use hash to replace ID word. Menu, so the name is the same as before, and I'll give this text align right. Okay, like this. Go to our, there we go. See, now the bottom one stayed the same, but the top one went to the right, because the whole div here inside has the style of aligning everything to the right. I mean, all the text. Okay, so it's probably a little bit too close to the edge, so give it padding right of maybe ATM. I didn't really design this website, kind of do it right here, but it's just to show you how it works. Okay, so now you can scale the website. It's going to always stay this far from the right edge. Okay. Okay, 1 second. I gotta come open the door. Be right back. All right, somebody forgotten the card. Now, what I want to do also is to make this menu on the top look different than the menu on the bottom. So what I'll do is I will extract some styles that I assigned for the menus into something that we call a class, or maybe I'll just use the menu tag. So what I'll do, I'll nest it. Actually, what I'll do, I'll nest it. So look at the HTML. Inside of the div menu, okay, I have this list, and this list is different than this. I want to make it different. So what I'll do, I'll say only inside of menu, the list items will have a special style. So first of all, there are all those two styles that will be different, okay? Background color blue and padding of 0.5. So I'll cut that out, paste it here, okay? And save it, and see how that changed the website. See? So now only inside of the menu ID div, the list items have blue background and they have a fat padding around them. The ones in here, they don't. They just only have this generic style for all LIs on the page. Okay? So maybe the blue color is not the nicest color. I'll make it into, say, grayish color. So let's go back, and the blue will change to hexadecimal number of, let's say, 8. Okay, we can use either 3 or 6. Okay, that looks pretty bad, but it doesn't really matter. The color of the font is black. Maybe let's change it to white. Okay. So to change the color of the font, we just simply type color and say white. Nice, that's much better. You know, actually, I don't really like this font. I don't even know what this font is. It's probably Times New Roman, so I changed that to a different font. So what I'll do, I'll go here, and I'll say every font, we will change the standard font for our whole page. So every font will have a different family. Okay, we'll call it Helvetica. Okay, and actually I'll try Helvetica Neue or normal Helvetica. Okay. Or just sans serif. Okay, and what it will do now is the web browser will look for Helvetica Neue, and if it cannot find it on your computer, it will look for Helvetica, and if it cannot find that one, it will look for the sans serif font. So let's save that, refresh, and the font changed. Okay, so let me stop for now, and I'll record the second session in a couple of minutes, so we'll have the first one complete here.